Emily wasn't looking for fireworks. After a rough divorce and juggling life as a single mum, all she wanted was one peaceful week by the ocean. No men, no stress, just sunshine, sleep, and maybe a piña colada or two. But life? It had other plans. It started with a watermelon, a literal crash on the boardwalk. Juice was everywhere, and a stranger, with the kind of smile that makes you forget your own name, just stood there. It was supposed to be nothing, just a random beach moment, something she'd laugh about later. But then came the walks, the laughter, the way he made her feel like herself again. She told herself, it was just a vacation story, a fling, a blip, nothing more. But when she got back home and walked into work on Monday, she nearly lost her mind. I'm your host, Mark YESSEN, and we're kicking off today's wild story. Let's roll. Emily's life had always been a quiet hope for a love that felt real, deep and unshakable. While her friends in their small town of Asheville, North Carolina, were busy with husbands and kids, Emily held out for that one guy who'd steal her heart forever. She wasn't just chasing a ring. She wanted the kind of love that made every day brighter. But life had a funny way of flipping her dreams upside down, and reality hit hard, leaving her teetering on the edge. Then, out of nowhere, a chance encounter at a sunny beach resort in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, opened a door she never expected. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Every juicy detail is coming in this real-life story. Emily tied the knot later than most. By the time she said I do, her friends had already walked down the aisle, some more than once, with kids now running around in elementary school. Guys always noticed Emily. She was stunning, fit, with a smile that lit up any room. But the ones she liked, they never quite sparked anything back. She dreamed of a marriage built on mutual, heart-pounding love. Her mom, Linda, would always say, "Hold on, sweetheart, don't rush into anything. The right one's out there." Those words echoed in Emily's mind whenever she felt that pang of panic about being single. Mom's right, she'd think, but waiting was exhausting. She wanted it all, love, family, stability, but worried her perfect guy might already be living his happily ever after with someone else. The pressure was crushing. Every family gathering at Thanksgiving, someone asked when she'd find the one, and it stung. At 34, Emily felt time slipping away. Then she fell hard. Without overthinking, she jumped into marriage, convinced it was her fairy tale. But the honeymoon glow faded fast. She told herself it was just a rough patch, that things would smooth out, and they'd build a happy life together. But months turned into years, and things only got worse. When their son, Ethan, was born, the cracks in their marriage grew impossible to ignore. Her husband, Jake, barely glanced at Ethan, didn't help with diapers or dishes, and brought home just enough money to scrape by. Arguments filled their tiny apartment. Emily's tears became routine, but she clung to the idea that Ethan needed his dad. Then came the gut punch. Jake was cheating. Divorce was her only option. She packed up, moved back to her mom's place in Asheville, and tried to rebuild. Money was tight, and the sting of betrayal made Emily short-tempered. Her usual spark dimmed. Feeling defeated, she wondered if she'd ever find happiness again. One evening, her mom sat her down over coffee. "Honey, you need a break," Linda said gently. "Why don't you take a trip to Myrtle Beach? Hit the boardwalk, eat some shrimp, and feel like yourself again." "Mom, no way. How would you handle Ethan alone? And I'd miss him too much," Emily protested. "I've got this, Em. You need to live a little," Linda insisted. After some hesitation, Emily booked a week off work and headed to the coast. Trading Asheville's chilly fall for Myrtle Beach's warm waves felt like stepping into a dream. She missed Ethan, calling home constantly to check on her rambunctious 3-year-old. One afternoon, Strolling back from the shore, the salty ocean breeze mixed with the sweet promise of the watermelon she'd impulse bought at a boardwalk vendor. She imagined slicing into its juicy flesh. Carrying it was a workout. Hugging the heavy fruit, she dodged a lively group of college kids on the boardwalk. Suddenly, a guy bumped into her from behind. Startled, Emily lost her grip, and the watermelon crashed onto the pavement, bursting into a sticky red mess that splashed her and the nearby crowd. The college kids groaned, wiping juice off their clothes. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," Emily stammered, staring at the shattered fruit. "No, my fault," a deep voice cut in. "I'll grab you another one. Stay right here, please." She glanced up to see a guy, flustered but sincere, already jogging toward the vendor. Emily stood there, sticky watermelon juice dripping down her sandals, staring at the shattered mess on the Myrtle Beach boardwalk. The college kids nearby grumbled, but the guy who'd bumped into her was already sprinting back with a new watermelon, his face flushed with determination. "I'm so sorry about that," he said, catching his breath. "Here's a fresh one. Please, let me make this right." "It's okay, really," Emily replied, half embarrassed, half amused. She hesitated, then pointed to a nearby bench. "I'll wait over there." She sat down, brushing sand off her sundress, and watched the bustling boardwalk. Families strolled by, kids clutching ice cream cones, while seagulls squawked overhead and the faint jingle of a nearby arcade carried on the breeze. A dad carried a huge watermelon, and a mum pushed a stroller with a toddler, waving a tiny American flag. Emily's mind drifted to her failed marriage with Jake, the fights, the betrayal, the weight of raising Ethan alone. She sighed, wondering if she'd ever catch a break. She took a deep breath, letting the salty air calm her racing thoughts. "Back already?" The guy's cheerful voice snapped her out of it. He stood before her, sweaty but grinning, holding an even bigger watermelon. "I'm Ryan, by the way. Where to with this beast?" "I'm Emily," she said, standing up. "I'm staying at the Hilton, just up the street. Follow me." They walked in silence at first, the ocean waves crashing in the distance. Emily stole a glance at Ryan, tall, dark-haired, with a friendly vibe that felt oddly comforting. She noticed no wedding ring on his hand, and her eyes flicked to her own bare finger. "So, you from around here?" Ryan asked, breaking the quiet. "Nah, I'm from Asheville," Emily said, keeping it short. Why's he so curious? Probably just another guy looking for a vacation fling, she thought, brushing off a flicker of hope. "Asheville's cool. I'm from Raleigh," he said. "Down here for a break from work. You?" "Same. Needed a breather," she mumbled, thinking of Ethan's endless energy and her mom's insistence on this trip. As they reached the Hilton, Ryan kept chatting. "This place makes everyone feel free, doesn't it? Like no responsibilities," he said with a grin. "No ring, huh? So you're single?" "Wow, straight to the point," Emily shot back, smirking. "You're not wearing one either. What's your deal? Everyone's single on vacation, right?" "Ouch," Ryan laughed, pretending to wince. "Fair point. I'm single, yeah. Had a rough breakup a while back. My ex ran off with my best friend. Kinda swore off dating after that." Emily raised an eyebrow. He seemed genuine, nothing like Jake's smooth-talking lies. They climbed the stairs to her third-floor room, the watermelon making Ryan's arms flex under its weight. She opened the door and he set the fruit on a small table. "Want to slice it up?" Emily asked, grabbing a knife from her beach bag. "Can't let this go to waste." "Heck yeah," Ryan said, taking the knife. "Let's see if I can cut this without another disaster." As he carved, juice dripped onto the table, and Emily laughed for the first time in days. The sweet aroma filled the room, and they each grabbed a slice, biting into the crisp, sugary flesh. This is heaven," Emily said, juice trickling down her chin. "Told you I'd make it right." Ryan winked, mimicking her messy bite. They burst out laughing, the tension melting away. For a moment, Emily forgot her worries. Ethan, Jake, the divorce. Ryan's easy smile made her feel lighter, like maybe this trip could be more than just a break. "I should head out," Ryan said after they polished off half the watermelon, wiping his hands. "But can I see you again? Maybe grab a burger at Pier 14 on the boardwalk tomorrow." "Maybe," Emily said, her heart fluttering. "We'll see." As he left, she stood by the window, watching the sunset paint the sky pink. This random guy, this silly watermelon moment. Could it be the start of something? She smiled, letting herself hope. Just a little. Emily leaned against the window of her Hilton hotel room in Myrtle Beach, the taste of watermelon still sweet on her lips. Ryan's playful grin lingered in her mind as the ocean waves glittered under the fading sunset. For the first time in ages, her heart felt light, like maybe this trip could rewrite her story. She'd never had a vacation fling before. Heck, she'd barely dated since Jake. But something about Ryan's easy laugh and kind eyes made her wonder, why not let go, just for a week? "I deserve this," she whispered to herself, smiling. "A little fun won't hurt." The next morning, she met Ryan at Pier 14, the boardwalk's iconic diner buzzing with tourists and the smell of fried shrimp. They grabbed a booth by the window, the jukebox playing a classic Beach Boys tune. Over burgers, hush puppies, and milkshakes, they talked for hours about Asheville's quirky coffee shops, Raleigh's tech scene, and their shared love for cheesy rom-coms. Ryan's stories about his dog Max had Emily laughing so hard she nearly spilled her drink. "You're telling me your golden retriever stole an entire pizza?" Emily asked, wiping tears of laughter. "Swear on my life," Ryan grinned. "Box and all. I found him in the backyard, looking guilty but proud." Each day in Myrtle Beach felt like a gift. They wandered the boardwalk, played mini-golf at Jungle Lagoon, the clatter of putters and kids' cheers filling the air, and watched fireworks burst over the ocean. Emily called home daily, her mom, Linda, chuckling at her giddy tone. "Sounds like you're having the time of your life, Em," Linda said over the phone. "I am, Mom," Emily admitted, her cheeks warm. "Ryan's different. I don't know what this is, but it feels good." Linda's voice softened with hope, but she didn't push. She knew Emily's heart had been through too much to rush into anything. Back at the hotel, Emily let herself get lost in the moment, Ryan's hand brushing hers as they walked, his gentle kiss under the pier one starry night. For once she didn't overthink the future. She just lived. When her week ended, Emily boarded the plane back to Asheville, her skin sun-kissed and her heart heavy. Ethan greeted her with a tackle hug, and over dinner at Linda's cozy kitchen table, she shared bits of her trip, carefully skipping the romantic details. "You look happy, honey," Linda said, passing the mashed potatoes. "I am, Mom," Emily said softly. "But it was just a vacation thing. Ryan said he'd call, but I'm not holding my breath." "Oh, sweetie," Linda sighed, squeezing her hand. "Guys make big promises they don't always keep. Just keep your heart open, okay?" Emily nodded, but doubt crept in. Vacation flings didn't last, right? She'd been burned before, and the silence from Ryan felt all too familiar. She threw herself into work at her marketing job, tackling emails and deadlines to drown out thoughts of Ryan. Weeks passed, and his promised calls never came. She told herself it was fine, she'd had her fun, and Ethan was her priority now. Then, one Monday, her boss called a team meeting at their downtown Asheville office. "Big news, folks," he announced. "I'm moving up to corporate, and we've got a new director joining us." Emily's stomach dropped as Ryan walked in, sharp in a blazer, his familiar grin catching her off guard. Her pulse raced, her hands trembling as she gripped her notebook. Ryan, her new boss. This had to be a cosmic joke. "Everyone, meet Ryan Carter," the boss continued. "He's coming from our Raleigh branch." Emily's mind spun. How was she supposed to work with him after everything? Emily's heart pounded like a drum. As Ryan stood at the front of the Asheville office of Blue Ridge Brews, a local craft beer marketing firm, introduced as her new boss. She shrank behind a co-worker, praying he wouldn't notice her. The memory of their Myrtle Beach nights, laughter, stolen kisses, watermelon sticky fingers, clashed with the reality of him now being her director. How could fate pull a stunt like this? Her summer fling was now her boss. Her world just flipped upside down. She forced a neutral smile, her mind racing with questions. Work with him? Act professional? Pretend their fling never happened? The meeting dragged on, her boss praising Ryan's experience from the Raleigh branch. Emily barely heard a word, her eyes darting to Ryan's face, still handsome, still familiar, but now untouchable. As the team dispersed, she hurried toward the door, hoping to slip out unnoticed, but her boss's voice stopped her cold. "Emily, hang on," he called. "I want you to meet Ryan Carter. Emily's one of our best marketers, great with clients." Her stomach twisted as she turned, forcing herself to meet Ryan's gaze. His eyes widened briefly, but he recovered fast, extending a hand with a polite smile. "Nice to meet you, Emily," Ryan said, his voice steady but warm. "I've heard great things." "Likewise," she mumbled, shaking his hand. Her skin tingled at the contact and she pulled back quickly. The boss left them alone and the air grew thick with tension. Emily stared at the floor, her cheeks burning. Ryan cleared his throat, stepping closer. "I had no idea you worked here," he said softly. "When you left Myrtle Beach, I messed up. I should have called." "It's fine," Emily cut in, her tone clipped. "Vacation flings don't last. Let's just keep this professional." "Professional," Ryan echoed, a hint of frustration in his voice. "Emily, that week meant something to me. I'm not asking you to forget it." "What do you want, Ryan?" she snapped, glancing around to ensure no co-workers were nearby. "You're my boss now. We can't just pick up where we left off." "I know," he said, running a hand through his hair. "But seeing you here, this can't just be random." Emily's heart wavered, but she held firm. "Let's stick to work," she said, turning away. "If you need me, I'm at my desk." She walked out, her pulse still racing, and dove into her emails to distract herself. Telling her mom, Linda, was out of the question. Linda would be planning a wedding by dinner. Emily tried to focus, but Ryan's presence in the office was impossible to ignore. His laugh from a nearby meeting, his silhouette passing her cubicle, it all stirred memories she'd buried. The week dragged on, Emily's stress piling up with Ethan's tantrums and work deadlines. On a chaotic Saturday, Ethan was in full toddler meltdown mode, refusing his oatmeal at Linda's kitchen table, the aroma of fresh coffee brewing in the pot. Emily was exhausted, pleading with him when the doorbell rang. Linda opened it, and Emily froze as Ryan stepped into the kitchen, holding a brightly wrapped box, a toy train set. Linda's eyes sparkled with curiosity, her southern hospitality kicking in. "Well, come on in," she said. "Hey, Ethan," Ryan said, crouching down. "Check this out. I had one just like it when I was your age." "A train!" Ethan squealed, his tantrum forgotten as he grabbed for the box. Emily's jaw dropped, her eyes darting between Ryan and her mum's curious stare. "What are you doing here?" Emily whispered, pulling Ryan aside. "I couldn't stay away," he said, his eyes earnest. "I want to know you, Emily. You and Ethan." Her heart skipped, but doubt lingered. Could she trust this? Emily stood in her mum's cozy Asheville kitchen, the scent of coffee mixing with the chaos of Ethan's excitement over the Lionel toy train set Ryan had brought. Her heart raced, part thrill, part panic, as Ryan's words echoed, "I want to know you, Emily. You and Ethan." Linda, sensing the tension, busied herself with the coffee pot, but her curious glances said she was dying to know more. Ethan, oblivious, was already tearing into the box, his giggles filling the room. "Look, Mom, it's got a whistle," Ethan shouted, holding up a shiny red locomotive. "That's awesome, buddy," Ryan said, kneeling beside him. "Want to see how it works?" Emily watched, torn. Ryan's ease with Ethan was disarming, nothing like Jake's indifference. Trusting again? That was a leap. Her heart wanted to dive in, but Jake's betrayal still stung. She caught Linda's eye, and her mom gave a subtle nod, as if to say, "Give him a chance." "I'll give you all some space, holler if you need me," Linda said, grabbing her mug and heading out. Left alone with Ryan and Ethan, Emily felt exposed. Ryan stood, brushing his hands on his jeans, and turned to her, his expression soft but determined. "I know this is a lot," he said, "showing up like this. I just couldn't let you think Myrtle Beach was a fluke. I'm serious, Emily." "Serious?" she replied, crossing her arms. "Ryan, you're my boss, and I've got Ethan to think about. I can't just jump into something." "I get it," he said, stepping closer. "I'm not that guy, Emily. Just give me a chance to show you." His sincerity hit her hard, stirring memories of their beach nights, fireworks, laughter, the way he'd made her feel alive. Ethan's voice broke the moment, calling for Ryan to help with the train tracks. As they sprawled on the floor, snapping pieces together, Emily's guard softened. Ryan's patience with Ethan, his goofy impressions to make him laugh, it was more than she'd expected. Later, over coffee at the kitchen table, Linda couldn't hold back. "So, Ryan," she said, her southern drawl teasing, "you just go around buying trains for every kid in Asheville?" "Only the cool ones," Ryan shot back, winking at Ethan, who beamed. Emily laughed, the sound surprising her. For the first time since her divorce, hope felt possible. That night, after Ryan left and Ethan was tucked in, she sat on the porch, the old porch swing creaking under her weight, staring at the Blue Ridge Mountains under the stars. The watermelon mishap in Myrtle Beach seemed like a lifetime ago, yet it had led her here, to a man who showed up, not just with words, but with actions. She wasn't naive. Love had burned her before. But Ryan's effort, his connection with Ethan, made her want to try. Maybe this was her second chance. Not just a fling, but something real. She thought of her mom's advice. Keep your heart open. For Ethan's sake, and her own, she decided to take the risk. Their first date, a quiet coffee at Asheville's Battery Park Book Exchange, felt like a step towards something real. Weeks later, Emily and Ryan navigated their work dynamic carefully, keeping things professional at Blue Ridge Brews. But outside the office, they stole moments: coffee dates, park playtime with Ethan, quiet dinners when Linda babysat. Each step felt like a new beginning, built on trust and a shared belief that love could surprise you, like a spilled watermelon or a train set on a Saturday morning.